Hello, welcome to topic 6 of our training and development workshop. This one's on product development. The first step in developing product is to assemble the right team. And there are various members who need to be a part of the team. Sometimes an individual can play more than one role, but each of these have to be part of that product development team. The first one is the subject matter expert. This is the person who is going to be primarily responsible for the content. This is how do we do the job, the task, the behavior in this newly trained way. It may be an outside consultant with expertise. It could be someone from within the company who has expertise in this particular area. But we must have representation from a subject matter expert. Sometimes you need more than one depending on the complexity of the training, and there could be different subject matter that is being contained in the training, so you may need to pull from marketing, from sales, from human resources, or other departments, each of those having a role to play. The other person to be on the team is an instructional designer or trainer, someone who is familiar and conversant in how to structure training events so that they can be most impactful and effective. It's not merely enough just to have your subject matter expert share all that he or she knows, but rather it has to be done in a way that allows for learning to occur, that allows for the trainee to develop competence and mastery of that subject area. Other people to consider on the training team. Depending on the project, you may want to have the manager of the people being trained to ensure that there are the appropriate links and alignments to what that function or department does, and to ensure that there's not a surprise when your subordinates are trained to do one thing and you as the manager are unfamiliar with how that fits into your mission, into how you're supposed to be able to meet the business goals. So often it's imperative that the manager participate. Depending on the project again, it may be appropriate to have actual job incumbents part of your training team so that they can understand and provide feedback and input into how the training will impact how people currently do the job. They are the ones who are on the shop floor. They are the ones who are being tasked with doing whatever it is that's currently being done. And so they can sometimes lend insight that wouldn't be available from other places that could be meaningful to the training. In other instances, you might want to bring in customers. I use that term very loosely, but customers of the output done by the people to be trained. Sometimes they would have a perspective on what their true needs are and ensure that the training meets that so that the job incumbents, the trainees, are able to maximize their effectiveness or efficiencies by virtue of having the customer provide some insight into what they seek as part of the training development. Very simply put, when you're designing and developing training, it is always good to keep in your mind the following phrase: tell them what you're going to tell them, tell them, have them tell you what you told them, and then tell them what you told them. What that really means is you have to give opportunity for people to catch on as you go through the training. So give people kind of the far view, here's what we're about to cover, so that they can root themselves and anchor themselves as to what the training will consist of. Then discuss it, demonstrate it, provide people with an example of how the new skill is to be accomplished. Ask them to practice the skill, to begin to develop mastery of the skill. Then go back and conclude, in case they haven't caught on yet, here's what we've just covered, here's what you now should be able to do, here's what it is that the skill contains. So keeping those approaches in mind allows you to keep a focus on what really belongs in the training and what perhaps is irrelevant or extraneous to the mission or purpose of the training. Another thing to discuss in development of the product, the different delivery opportunities. For some of us, our default assumption is training means you have to be in a setting similar to a classroom where there's a teacher, an instructor, a facilitator up at the front of the room. Everyone is in the same classroom together, and we all learn as if we are back in our class settings as children. That's not the only way to develop training. You can also do things through written means, a book, a manual, a job aid that is sent out to people that walks them through a new process with 3, 5, 10 steps. You can do things online, whether we're talking about an authoring language for computer-based training, where it gives people an experience that is self-paced, but at the same time ensures that the content is covered in the correct order and that there are tests and quizzes involved so that people can be tracked as they go through the training. You can do things through podcasts, audio if you will. You can do things through webinar or WebEx, where again people can be remotely located but still schedule time to get together via a computerized WebEx or webinar and share opinions, engage with a facilitator, etc. A whole lot of decisions go into the product design, and it is a critical issue to resolve in order to ensure that training is successful.